Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we're just gonna kind of hang out, play. I know we've played this deck a little on the channel, but we're actually playing this in Alchemy today, and this is the Naya Runes deck. This is a deck I've done incredibly well with in best of one. I am 36 and 11. I'm almost at Diamond 2 with it. It's been my main deck that I've ranked up with this month. And the deck itself is pretty much a standard port. The only difference between this version and the standard version is 3 Forsaken Crossroads. It's just a really useful land to be able to fix your mana and also set you up with some scries. A big proponent of why I think this deck's better in Alchemy than standard is mono white with the aspirant nerf is not as popular, meaning that there's less Thalia and less exile based removal in the terms of like Skyclave apparition and stuff like that. So the deck ends up doing a little bit better. Those are usually the tougher decks to beat. There's also, like, at least from my run, there's been a lot less Meathook decks and Vanishing Burst decks. So the deck itself plays a little bit better. There's a sideboard I could include if you're interested, but I am playing this in best of one. But it's pretty much really clean. Generous visitors for put counters on things. Jukai makes your things cheaper. Runeforge searches you up runes. The trick with Runeforge, always try to take the runes out of your graveyard to increase the likelihood that you draw more enchantments from your library. When you have Jukai Naturalist and Runeforge Champion in play, all your runes cost 0 mana. So kind of a real cool thing there. 4 of each runes, Haste, Trample, Lifelink, all super relevant. We have Kami of Transience, whatever you want to call it. Scales and gets bigger every enchantment you cast. And this could come back from your graveyard. This deck is very resilient. If your opponent does not interact with your graveyard, you could just keep bringing things back, get haste. So it's a really kind of cool deck. Showdown refills our hand, pumps up our squad, and then we have Commune with the Spirits as card advantage. It can find us an early land, it could find us an enchantment as well, which happens in some cases to be our creatures. And then a couple touch the Spirit Realms. So this is removal, but it's also kind of protection in a way. So if your opponent, if you're only on one creature, they try to interact, you could blink it. So there's kind of ways around that. So I've liked this in the deck. And then we got 1 Ijanjo for removal, 1 Boseiju, and then a Lair of the Hydra as creature lands. So I think I am almost Diamond 2. I was actually like on a heater. I was like 26 and 4. But then I was playing kind of distracted. So I wasn't playing optimally. Like, you know, as soon as you do a play and you're immediately like, why did I click that? Or you keep like stupid hands. But this is a deck I've liked. I know folks are kind of soured on Alchemy, but I think with Magic, like ultimately it's a game. So you find a deck you like. Personally, right now, I'm kind of tired from work, want to hang out and play some Magic, so I'm going to play something I enjoy. We'll be back with there's a bunch of cool decks we featured in the Standard and Historic section, so we'll definitely try out those decks in the next coming days. But one of the things about picking up a new deck every day is you do have to kind of learn the deck, and after working 11 hours I don't feel like learning a new deck today. I'm going to play a deck I enjoy, I'm good with, and kind of go from there. If you're interested in the stats, I could see if I could pull it up in the meantime while we wait for a match. Alchemy queue times are usually about a minute. They're not as quick as standard. Oh, we got a game. I'll flip over afterwards. Okay, so we got paired against a platinum player. Sometimes it happens. So we go first. I can set up my mana nicely, so I think we do that. Really, you just want to make sure you can either... You want a hand with like Jukai. So we want green here. Set up a scry. I think I'm actually down for this land. So you usually want your opener to either have a Generous Visitor or a Jukai Naturalist. So speaking of, we don't run into many Meathook decks, immediately queue into a Meathook deck. We'll see if they're black-white. If they are black-white, having Jukai as your main threat is good. I think what we will do is play Showdown. because we're definitely not blocking here. While I don't normally like playing Showdown this early, you know, maybe we don't play Showdown this turn. We don't get the utility of the land. Let me see if I could set up. Perfect. Second Jukai. And then we can Showdown next turn. I do want to find a way to put a counter on this, just from Meathook's perspective. This also makes it 2 mana next turn. You know, I needed to play a red land here. Because now I don't get to play the land off Showdown, I gotta play a land from hand. And that does limit me. Not having any duels this game is kind of awkward. So we'll see what we hit here. This very well could just be a setup turn. Okay, so it's not bad. Little slow of an overall draw. Touch the Spirit Realm's not bad. Gonna do this for the turn. And then with Commune, we're just gonna basically set ourselves up. The haste is actually super relevant, so we'll take that. Post-combat, we can kind of interact. So if they Meathook here, it's fine. Notably, we only have the one white source, so I need to decide between Touch the Spirit Realms, another Showdown, and just kind of setting up. So mana's been a little awkward this game. Our top lands. Okay, so it's no Meathook this turn. Next turn we could start getting counters on things. I'm actually not going to take the block here. There's a high likelihood they have Deadly Dispute, and then they can just minimize. We can take the 2 damage. We can gain a lot of life with this deck. So I'm not as worried. So we see here, again, like they had a way to kind of work with that. Interestingly, they sack their own Fellstinger. So they are digging for an answer. Okay, so another white line there is great. So we're going to start off with Showdown, because if we get Runeforge Champion, it lets us kind of pop off. Gonna split my threats here. Okay, Visitor is actually great. And we also hit a white line here. So no other source here, but I think all in all we're cool with this. So we're going to put the counter on the one with Trample. So they could technically do it for 4. They could do it for 5. So we're actually not going to attack this turn. Seems a little odd not to attack this turn, but the reason being, if this dies, they can make a treasure, and then they can get up to X minus 5. Now, if they have blood on the snow, they have blood on the snow. I can't do anything about that. So it may have been right to attack. What we really needed this game was a Runeforge Champion. But next turn I play this out, and we can kind of play a bunch of spells and hopefully get them that way. I just want to scale up my team. The fact that these all cycle for you is really good. Okay. Don't care too much about Lulth here.
Come closer. Subservience will be rewarded.
We can have that die. I think we're just going to try to push as much power into this Jukai with Trample. Okay, that's very good. So I need white, white, red. So throw it on the ones with Trample. Just make these like stupid big. Another generous visitor is actually really nice. Just lets me put more counters on things. Counters, 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 counters. This doesn't give any power, so we can give something lifelink for the turn. Oh no, figure it out. There's 26 with trample that they have to block. 26, 30, 31. They only have like 4, so it's like 15. Yeah, there's more than enough here. And that's where like this, we didn't have the fastest draw, but once you start getting some showdowns, you just kind of pump through a bunch of damage. Trample being super relevant. Yeah. 49 to -7. Turn 6. So we had to, like, we took it slower one turn to play around the meat hook, and then we were rewarded like that. If they had blood on the snow, I would have been probably okay, because we ended up drawing Kami. We could have given it haste and a bunch of stuff. They would have got the Lulf, or they would have got Serrated Scorpion, or whatever it's called back. But overall, let me just pull up. There we go. So you can see 37 and 11 with the deck. And then you can see like all my win rates really good into the mirror. Green-white decks, black-white decks are so-so. All these kind of like weenie aggro decks you do play really well. Boros was kind of losing against. I've been pretty good against control as well, like the blue-white decks. But the one that I lost to was like Demir. That was just like every piece of spot removal. They got 3 Discover the Formulas. I'm gonna keep this hand, and we're gonna scry on 1. While I like Runeforge, we only have the 1 rune in hand, and we need lands more than anything. Because ideally with my turn, I want to go Jukai on 2, and then if I can, I'm going to go Generous Visitor and Kami. If I don't get it, the Trample is really relevant. This matchup's actually kind of tricky, as weird as that sounds. We didn't hit a land. So I think we're going to do this. So the lifelink one doesn't actually put any power toughness, so you just equip the non-lifelink creature. Sick. Cool, 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 cool. Here I want the other green. Pump up these jams. I forgot that is Death Touch. It has first strike during your turn. That's fine. We rebuild. I'm gonna get the lifelink one probably. No, probably Trample. We need a red land. Kind of misplay on my part. Should have split the damage. Making this a little bit larger would have been useful. Or just holding off. It's fine. If we hit red, welcoming Vampire is an interesting inclusion. Okay, we'll use this as a setup turn. Let's get... So always go to your graveyard if there's the one you want in your graveyard. Next turn I could go Kami, play out the rune. If we hit a red mana, I can do that too. We need a line there. If we can pop off with these showdowns, we're okay. This is probably Hoogland's list that he was playing today, so it's not a straight dungeon list. So he does, I think, play verse, but we'll still do this. Gonna differentiate my threats here. Okay, so he did hit the verse. I think we hold off here. Because I can set it up, like we just need a red mana. This game's just been a little awkward. You know what, I should have played this out. I forgot that this filters my mana. Them also drawing 3 Triumphant Adventurers in the top 14 is pretty solid. Little awkward, just our draw. If we hit a red mana, we're in a pretty good spot. But if we don't, then a little awkward. We'll let them do what they want here. I'm not too worried. So annoying that we no, because I can't hit showdown off it. Because now we just get no attack this turn and we're kind of just behind. Still think we showdown. The way we win this game is just overwhelm the opponent. This also lets us catch up a bit. They could have verse here. They could just make the 1/1. Missed lines a couple too many turns. Like when you have to question whether or not you're on the play. We did gain a bit of life from this, so we're okay. Kaya. Okay, so this is a weird build.
There's no job too tough for me to handle.
Was not expecting to play around this card. Showdown Areno. Here it's probably commune. So realistically, next turn, green, white, red. Each of these is free. So they can't exile it this turn. With Jukai, I can try to set up just a really powerful attack with Trample. That plays around Vanishing Verse. But this Cloister Gargoyle will get ahead now, because they'll have 2 triggers if they, or even just 1 attack. I think we might be okay. The fact that this has been drawing him a lot of cards and we just haven't really been able to answer has been a bit annoying. Yeah. We needed that showdown.
Ghosting feels
Okay, so
weird.
best thing for us to draw is Runeforge Champion. We draw that, we maybe have a chance. Which has a ghost form counter. Okay, so that does. The death touch is annoying. So they have 8 power back. So this needs to be on red. I actually don't have white mana, so even with Runeforge I can't cast it. Probably should have waited there. Let's play the land in case we drew white. Let's see how big we can make this in any case. Because Kaya comes down, it hits us. Kaya hits Jukai. So Kaya comes down. They have enough to block the Kaya anyways. I think we just have to do this. Buys me another turn. Actually, this gets rid of my Runeforge because it comes back in. They just cast it again. Yeah. They had the answers. The Death Touch is actually super relevant. This deck hasn't. That's twice now I've lost to that Intrepid whatever, the 2-drop dungeon guy. So Death Touch low-key really good. And it makes it so we can't block because of the first strike. Honestly, if it wasn't for Kaya there, we were probably okay. Like, we could have stabilized. I needed that Runeforge like a turn earlier. This hand looks good. So the nice thing is with stuff like this, you can find your other lands. I'm going to take a showdown here. While we don't have red mana, it's still the best card there is here. This rune can help us to find a land, hopefully. We can also commune. Probably going to commune. Or not. Or not. Just be professionals. It's then actually an interesting turn. So I can give myself haste. I think I want to try to find like Runeforge champion. So I could Kami, give it haste. Which isn't bad. So you get a counter. I need another green source. So the question here is, like, how do we want to set this up? So let's make our judgment based on what we draw off this. We're going to take the lifelink this turn. Okay, so with that, do I want the creature land or do I want the scry? I think I want the scry, and I want to put this on green. Another showdown we don't want. We want Runeforge champion. And I think I'm going to offer this trade. The reason being is we could get Kami back. And this is likely going to get bigger anyways. They could only gain life off this once per turn. We have the option of setting up a showdown. So that's why putting counters on this is super relevant. Things about to get silly. Yeah, let's do this. Rune of Speed is in my graveyard. So start off here. Counter. Because if I could draw another land, I'd rather put the stuff on Kami here. Let's do this. Kami comes in, Kami gets haste. This is on green. Counter here. Put a counter here. So they have to block here. We have 14. We're up to 22. So they can get kind of big, but... So they could poke me in the air for 7. Showdown could hopefully find us some more gas. All our stuff has trample. That's a great draw. Here probably want to get it, so our other threats are quite big. Wow, it's actually impressively bad. There we go. Give you haste. So we have Touch the Spirit Realm. So I want to give you Trample. Might be able to find another rune here, which we do. Again, lifelink doesn't really go anything, but you could kind of just chain them together. You draw a bunch of cards. And like this 1/1 just added on like 5 extra points of power. We have the trample, we can race them with the lifelink. And even our opponent's board was pretty reasonable, but we just outclassed them, outscaled them. When they don't have Death Touch, it's a lot easier. 38 and 12. Voodoo. This hand doesn't do anything. So I think we keep this hand. And this is actually an interesting decision, and I think we take the land. We have Showdown on curve, and we want to hit that. Punished. Opponent did take 3. One drop tribal. Okay, so we got Rune of Speed in hand, so let's go get a Rune of Trampolies. So if they have Verse here, it's kind of annoying. I'm gonna probably play this Showdown. It's not really worth right now. Got another one. I still think it's better post because we're just gonna get chumped right now, and I think we need a way to just make our things bigger. Okay, that's actually pretty good. Kind of annoying we hit another showdown. That's probably Deadly Dispute that they have. Yeah. So they could meat hook here. Okay, we got necrotic summonings. We can get Kami going, put a bunch of counters on it. Probably should have done that. They did draw a lot of cards, puts it in a little bit of an awkward state. They deal one, so if they have Deadly Dispute, this blocks better. Meat hook. Yeah. They still need a creature to get that value, which they don't have. Here, let's go white source. Green, 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 white. Okay, so next turn we can do some damage. We have Rune Forge plus a bunch of cheap runes. They're somewhat priced into playing a creature necrotic summonings. Which, if that's their whole turn, they're basically paying 5 mana to kill my creature. Which is not the best rate. Also remember, so one kind of trick we can do is just put the runes... Okay. We about to get silly. We have haste in the graveyard. Ah, they had the verse. They had the verse. We needed one turn, no verse. So one thing you can do, if you enchant your land, and make sure to do it at, like, enchant the land then animate it so they can't kill it with creature removal. It's another way around, and you can just keep gaining life. You can also give it trample and stuff, so that was pretty sweet. We beat 3 pieces of removal with that, like a sweeper and everything. And that's what you want to try to do with this deck, just incremental value, ping them here and there. Sorry if you hear my dog playing in the background. She's playing fetch. She gets very upset at her ball. How dare the ball fly by her. Let's give this one more go. How are we on this run? We are... I think we're... like 4-1, 76% win rate, 39-12. So not bad overall. 11-7 the last bit, but like prior to that, I was like really killing it. Curious what these changes were. Was this just version change? Just playing on different days? Alright, playing against Epic 4. The first three not epic enough. We'll keep this. It's hard to like worst case. This is turn 2, 3/3 trample. One thing I want to try out too is in place of a couple of these, some ferocious pups. Do you have removal? This feels bad if they have removal. Okay, you know what? It's fine removal, I would say. Out of any removal that's... Oh, it's mill. Yeah, his matchup's actually like terrible. Because we draw so many cards. Mind you, if they mill us into our main one, our graveyard one, it's good. Yeah, which they did. So here we want to get trample. Because I also want to get this out of burn range. So my consideration was Touch of the Spirit Realming, which we might still do if we hit a land. So we're going to need to be mindful. So I have a lifelink. Okay, so we did hit a land. So I actually don't mind if they bounce Runeforge. Okay, that gets a counter out of their hand. Okay, so we got haste in the graveyard. So that's a copy spell. We're at 34. How do we win this game? I think we gotta kind of just try to go for all-out attack. Okay, the Demon Bolt, that's fine. That means it's not a copy effect. Let's go green mana here. So next turn can hopefully pop off. Well, damn, that took out a lot. Our curve of our deck's really low. Yeah, we just lost. I can't draw cards. Can I kill them this turn? No, because I can't get trample. No, I did. Mill's not a real deck. They happen to have Jawari. If we had a haste effect, maybe you could pump it through, but the fact that the runes all cycle make it a bit difficult. Because when you think about it, like, our deck naturally is trying to draw a lot of cards. So it could have been right to not play Showdown, but Showdown puts a lot of counters on things. So you're always in this. Okay, so Voodoo we just played. Voodoo was on black-white life gain. I'm gonna take the land here over the rune because they could have Vanishing Verse, and if so, I need to be able to Showdown. I'm going to keep a Janjo as a spell this game. A little awkward drawing it afterwards. Let's not let them know we have something. Play this out. They might be saving that for like a deadly dispute. Nah, Fell Stinger. Makes sense. So here, they could meat hook, can also just Janjo. If they don't block, and then that lets me scry and then set up meat hook the following turn. Okay, I like that play. Because I like getting the value off this. So your red mana. Because depending on what we hit, we can play out another spell. Can also get out of meat hook range here, hopefully. So they discarded the environmental sciences. Really, a lot of this is going to be trying to get yourself out of sciences range. Exile's relevant against Kami. And I like playing this when you can play the lands off it. Okay, so that'll take their turn. So I can Jukai. Naturalist, play the land. So a little thing here, the removal is usually Vanishing Verse, so... Oh, we didn't hit a land anyways. So they could have Meat Hook here, they could sweep my board, but I can quickly rebuild. Yep, X3. Okay, so... do you... Need to find a land here. You're red. Think we still showdown here actually. They could have verse. But I think this gives me more card advantage. If we had another creature, I'd feel a little bit more confident about it. But here we have like Kami combo going. I could put a bunch of counters on it. Just haste, haste, haste. Okay, Rite of Oblivion. So we gotta be mindful. It could have another Rite. Fell Stinger. That's fine. Hey, and we got Rooney. We got Rooney! I only have one red, so let's play you out as another red. I need Trample, which I need to get from my library. we'll do this. Put as much as we can so they don't get the option to chump block. I still think doing this could be correct. And again, just put a bunch of counters. So here they're forced to block. Okay, that's interesting. Because I technically have lethal. Okay, they go Skyclave. Get the haste. Got him. Voodoo, you ain't enough. That's 2-0 against ya. And just kind of keep hitting Voodoo. Voodoo's in a corner crying. Make it stop. Let's give this one last go. I enjoy this deck. It's a lot of fun. That takes us to 40 and 13. Switch modes. Sounds a little sketchy because we're on one creature, but it has a lot of potential. So I think we try. Plus we have a creature line, worst case. If this dies, worst case, then I just start putting the runes on this, and then you always have a really reasonable attacker later. I usually like going this into this on this. The visitor into Rune of Might to give it trample, becomes a 3/3. Green, so likely the mirror. There's a few variations in the mirror as well. Okay, so we have green, red, green, white. So we have all our colors. Put you on white. Or Hilda. That is kinda scary. Because they can steal stuff from us. But we'll try to race them. See what they hit from us. Gruul doesn't really have removal. So I can always just make things really like big and stupid. Touch of the Spirit Realm's really nice. So I can touch this. Which actually isn't too bad. And then next turn, there was a consideration depending on what they put the counter on, but next turn I can give this lifelink, and then if I draw something else, give it haste. It's pretty easy for us to flip day-night cycle with our deck. Okay, Stormseeker and Pup. So they hit me for 4. They have quite a bit of power here. But I think what we're going to do is set up a showdown turn. It gives me 5 power. Don't think I'm at virtue of dying to anything this turn. And then if I can find like Runeforge Champion, it's really good. It also lets me put a bunch of counters and gain a bunch of life. Because right now they can block me. I can only get this up to like 7 or so. Sec. So we got the combo for next turn. I only have 1 white mana, so I don't quite have the combo. But close enough. Close enough. White mana off the top. White mana. White mana. Got there. Do 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 do. Pop it here. We got trample in the yard. I'll take that. Well, don't mind me. We'll just throw a bunch of things on to creatures. The nice thing too is we're going to gain a bunch of life here. If we can get another haste, it's good. So we took a kind of turn off, see how we could play out. Perfect. And this is when the deck just gets silly. We'll put this to 4 power, just so I can they don't get free blocks with the Storm Seekers. Give me a trample for the... Okay, that's all I could do for the turn. That was such a bad turn. Take out Storm Seekers, take out Storm Seekers. Oh no. Oh no. You have a 3/4. I'm at 34 life. Alright. When this deck goes off and you kind of get the combo going, it just feels like... just feels silly. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this up. Let's see overall how we finished up with the deck. We are 41-13, 76% win rate, and we are closing in on Diamond 1 and Mythic. Diamond Tier 2 halfway through pretty much, but let me know what you think of the deck if you've been playing it, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone.